You've got mail.
Do you remember the 90s?
Come on, Uncle Phil, this is the 90s, man.
Man, it's the 90s. It's hammer time. Come on.
It's the 90s, remember? Microchips, microwaves, faxes, airphones.
Ma, it's the 90s. You can call it what it is.
Yada, yada, yada.
I can be anything I want to be. It's the 90s.
What, are you nuts? This is the 90s. We're gonna sue you.
Wake up and smell the 90s.
Oh, I'm just sitting here kicking myself for not taking care of my gallbladder. And for going to that hospital for the operation and for letting them give me blood without asking first, oh, excuse me, are you sure this isn't going to kill me one day?
Now, Rose, take it easy.
Why does everyone keep saying that? I don't feel like taking it easy. I might have AIDS, and it scares the hell out of me.
So what do you think we're talking about this week?
Well, I think that I was going to say the Golden Girls, but I'm guessing because of the specific clip that you had was a little more serious than your average Golden Girls, a very special episode. So I'm thinking this is probably about AIDS in the 90s.
It is about AIDS in the 90s. So this is somewhat of a heavier episode than we've done in the past. But I do think that the subject is so interesting because it very much dominated media and pop culture in the 90s. And it seems to be something that is almost like forgotten because it is treatable and people live normal lives with the disease. Basically, they've got drugs that make it so that you can't test the blood and see that it has HIV in it. So,
yeah, no, I mean, when it first came out, it was very scary because people panicked. People thought you could get it from a toilet seat. People thought you could get it from hugging someone.
Yeah. No, it was definitely scary.
There was a lot of misinformation.
There was a lot of misinformation, particularly in the 80s. It was recognized in the early 1980s, but there was a lot of misinformation, mostly because we didn't know what it was at the beginning, and then we found out what it was, but some of the misinformation perpetuated. So my memory of it during the 90s was every single media outlet trying to educate the population on what it actually was, which is a sexually transmitted disease between two people or drug users who share needles.
Yeah, in the 90s, it started to become more of something that people were willing to talk about and wanted to try to rally around suppressing and getting information out so that it wouldn't spread.
Right. So Ronald Reagan, our president in the 80s, did not make a mention of it until 1987, even though I believe it was 1983 when it was identified in America. So I'm going to give a general overview of what it is. HIV is the human immunodeficiency virus, and that is the virus that causes the disease of AIDS, which is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So you can have HIV and not have AIDS yet, but I do believe HIV, at least at that point, without the drugs we have now, would eventually lead you to getting AIDS.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So, and at the time, life expectancy was 11 years once you acquired HIV, which is crazy. You could transmit the disease before you were aware that you had it.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes.
Yeah. So as I said, it's primarily spread by unprotected sex and contaminated needles or blood transfusions like that that Golden Girls clip gave us, because there was a time period when, before we knew much about it, that they didn't test blood, at least for that specific disease. So people got it by mistake.
Yeah, my gateway in the 80s, just to take a little backward step from the podcast, is with, at least in the States, I don't know if it was in Canada, was with Ryan White.
Yes.
Because the Ryan White story was that he was a student. I was in 4th grade when he became public, and he came out with his mother with the Surgeon General, and they created a whole campaign around the fact that AIDS can happen to anyone. And the fact that it happened to someone that was my same age in my own grade really hit home. And I remember we were talking about the transmission of AIDS and all of the misinformation, even at that age in our school. And they had made a mini series starring who is the actress who played the mother in Who's the Boss?
Judith Light.
Judith Light played in the mini series, which was very popular. It had big ratings, and they played it. I remember it got such good ratings that they played it again the next week.
Based on a true story.
It's a petition to keep Ryan White out of school.
They're afraid. Afraid of what? AIDS. That's crazy. I can ride bikes. I can do everything.
They said he didn't belong, but he wouldn't give up.
I want to go to school.
Who's the Boss's Judith Light and Lucas Haas, the Ryan White story.
Can you think of any other people that are of significance that died of AIDS in the 90s specifically? Because there's a bunch.
You know what? The biggest one that I know of was definitely in the 80s, which was Rock Hudson. I'm trying to think of anyone that would be specifically in the 90s.
Yeah, Rock Hudson died in 1985 of AIDS.
Yeah.
And it was sort of a revelation that he was gay at all. So let's see. Keith Haring died of AIDS.
Keith Haring was in the 90s.
1990. Yep. So Keith Haring is a painter, artist. He's known for his subway drawings.
The dancing stick figures.
Yeah. Stick figures, the dog, very large lines, thick lines, filled a page very uniformly. He also does the artwork for, isn't it I think it was actually maybe this was after his death, but of the some form of AIDS charity. I believe that it was used after he passed. In 1991, Howard Ashman, who was...
That's a big one.
Yeah, one of the co-writers of the music for The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast.
He was sick during the recording process of Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, he knew he was dying even while he was recording it. I don't think he made it to the release.
Oh, no?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's a shame. Also in 1991, Miles Davis and Freddie Mercury both died.
Man. Okay. I always thought that was earlier.
Yep. In 1992, Isaac Asimov.
Really? Isaac Asimov?
Yeah, from a blood transfusion.
Yeah.
And Robert Reed from the Brady Bunch, the father from the Brady Bunch.
That's right.
Also in 1992, Peter Allen, husband of Liza Minnelli at one point from Australia. He passed away. And Anthony Perkins, the actor from Psycho.
That's correct. Yeah. Can I throw one out there?
Sure.
If this isn't going to possibly, you might be getting to this.
We might not do the 90s in the right order, but that's fine.
Pedro, Real World?
Pedro. So that is actually almost next.
The entire narrative of that season got taken over by that.
Can you quickly describe who Pedro was and what the Real World was? Because I think anybody more than 10 years younger than us doesn't really understand that this was kind of the origin of the reality television that we have now.
They took a whole bunch of young people and stuck them from all different backgrounds and kind of put them in a house to see what things, what was the tagline? To see when...
will people stop being people stop being nice and start acting real or something like that. There is a very specific tagline.
Insert clip here.
What happens when people stop being polite? Could you get the phone?
And start getting real.
The real world.
This was MTV's first big
reality
television
show.
hit.
Yeah, it was a documentary series about a bunch of people forced to live in a very beautiful house.
And they were all college aged.
Ish, yeah, early 20s for sure. And weirdly, so I grew up in Canada. We did not have MTV there. But for some reason, this season was exported to City TV. And I don't know that I watched it from beginning to end, but I did see several episodes of it probably not the year it was out, but a couple years later.
When Pedro told me he was HIV positive, it was just like, no, not him. I like this guy and I don't want him to have to suffer.
When I found out I was HIV positive, about 8 months later, I started doing AIDS education. Every time I tell somebody I am HIV positive, it gets as hard. It's as hard as the first time I did it. So I'm still concerned about, meet 5 people, and I don't know how they're going to feel about me being HIV positive.
So that was the, I think, premiere episode where the characters were traveling to the house and they would like meet up in small groups to meet one-on-one rather than 7 all at one time.
But it was not common at all to have even a gay character on your show.
No, not at all.
Let alone someone with AIDS.
It was very, representational in, past years. That hasn't always been a concern for media. We wanted like a glamorous version of, the best, most beautiful, and starting probably around this time. And with like a kind of a cutting edge network like MTV was in the 90s, they started representing people that were sort of outside of the mainstream and that weren't talked about very much. So Pedro died at age 22, the day after the finale of The Real World aired, the day after. So, he got to see what he put out into the world. And when you talk about AIDS in the 90s, like you sort of showed, he is one of the main characters, so to speak. Another significant voice in the 90s was Elizabeth Glaser. Do you recognize that name?
No.
So Elizabeth Glaser was married to Paul Michael Glaser, otherwise known as Starsky.
Starsky, yeah.
Yep. And I believe she got HIV from a blood transfusion, and she passed it on to both of her children. Elizabeth Glaser had 2 children. One died very young, and the other one, I believe, is still alive now. That child has a genetic mutation that actually protects them from HIV in sort of a strange way. She spoke at the 1992 Democratic National Convention. So I'm going to put just a little bit of that in here.
7 years ago, while giving birth to my first child, I hemorrhaged and was transfused with 7 pints of blood. 4 years later, I found out that I had been infected with the AIDS virus and had unknowingly passed it to my daughter Ariel through my breast milk and my son Jake in utero. 20 years ago, I wanted to be at the Democratic Convention because it was a way to participate in my country. Today, I am here because it's a matter of life and death.
So she originated the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation, which is an AIDS charity that is alive and well today, that specifically does research on children.
How long did she live? She
died in 1994.
Man,
the same year as Pedro.
Oh man, it's such a terrible story.
It's horrible. I believe Paul Michael Glaser's still alive as well.
He is.
Now, I couldn't have picked her name out of thin air when I thought, oh, what about AIDS in the 90s? But when I did start doing some research, she was definitely someone that like clicked in my brain where I was like, oh yeah, she was around and was like talking about stuff and, creating awareness.
It was getting to the point where people could not dismiss the fact that it was happening to everyone.
Correct. Yeah. It wasn't just the bad people or the immoral people. And I think
it took them long enough.
I think somebody who helped with that was Princess Diana.
Oh, yes.
She, and I do have a clip here. She would meet people and she would touch them and she would hug them, which is, I think, against royal protocol. But I mean, Diana didn't care. She was her own person. And she allowed people to recognize that it was safe to be in the presence of people with this disease.
The Princess of Wales is the new patron of the National AIDS Trust, and today the focus of their concern is the plight of children with the HIV virus.
The opportunity is simple. HIV does not make people dangerous to know, so you can shake their hands and give them a hug Heaven knows they need it. What's more, you can share their homes, their workplaces, their playgrounds, and their toys. We all need to be alert to the special needs of those for whom AIDS is the last straw in an already heavy burden of discrimination and misfortune.
I think, if nothing else, COVID we can compare a lot to what we most recently experienced with misinformation and worry and concern and not knowing what was going on at first, and it being really scary for everybody. Another incredibly famous person who announced that he had it.
Can I guess?
But had a lot of money and so still is alive.
That's true, yes. Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson, yes. Basketball player Magic Johnson announced in 1991 that he had it. And he is still alive and kicking today.
Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers. You know, sometimes you're a little naive about it and you think it could never happen to you. You only thought it could happen to, you know, other people and so on and on. And it has happened, but I'm going to deal with it and my life will go on.
Another person that used their fame and wealth and notoriety is, can you think of somebody who is not somebody who has it or had it, but somebody who used their face and their voice? She's passed now.
Oh, she's passed. I was going to say Madonna.
I don't know of any specific stuff that Madonna does, but I know that Madonna is very connected to
safe sex, at least.
Safe sex. She was very much into safe sex. No, I'm talking about Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh,
wait. What am I talking? Okay, she had her own foundation.
She co-established AMFAR.
Yeah.
In 1985, and she was. So let's explain who Elizabeth Taylor is. Elizabeth Taylor was a movie star from the 40s, 50s, 60s. Those were her prime years. She was still very, very, very famous. She's known as the actress who got married 8 times. And in the later years, she married a construction worker. And she's very, very glamorous and she was considered the most beautiful woman in the world. And
had a lot of jewelry.
So much jewelry. But she very much used her position and her friendship with people like Rock Hudson to fight for research and for education.
I am filled with pride and humility. I accept this award in honor of all the men, women, and children with AIDS who are waging incredibly valiant battles for their lives. Those to whom I have given my commitment, the real heroes of the pandemic of AIDS.
This was also the time period of the red ribbons at the Oscars and all of the award shows. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I was going to say the Red Ribbon campaign. That was.
I feel like that was like the first big ribbon campaign. Now we have, of course, Susan G. Komen, the breast cancer,
and there's kind of piggybacked on that.
Yeah, and there's a couple different colors for other significant causes. But from my memory, the red ribbon worn on the lapel or on the dress to bring awareness, that was the purpose for it, was like the first sort of ribbon.
Can I get another one? If you're talking about symbols that were made, AIDS quilt.
Yes, the AIDS quilt.
The AIDS quilt, I remember, was a big deal. We made in school. We made portions of it to be sent out to be added to the AIDS quilt.
So can you describe what the AIDS quilt was?
Yeah, the AIDS quilt was, they went onto the national lawn, I believe.
And later it traveled.
It traveled around, but originally it was an initiative where people gathered at the national lawn and brought...
The National Mall.
Or National Mall. Mm-hmm. And they laid out on the lawn of the National Mall underneath the Washington Monument. Yeah.
It stretched from the base of the Washington Monument to the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah, and people would create, panels?
Panels, yeah, sections that would be connected together, and you would make it for your loved one.
The only thing I can say that it had the equivalent to was probably the Vietnam Wall, in the fact of the idea of the visual scale of it when you saw it,
It was immense.
Was jaw-dropping and heart-wrenching.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you just look at the thing and it just brought you to tears.
Well, it puts into perspective just how many people it killed.
Yeah.
Not just affected, it killed people. An immense amount of people that we weren't talking about for a really long time. It won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And
I mean, it completely worked. I mean, it was an amazing visual and an amazing way to connect people to something that seemed so massive and so maybe not part of their lives.
Yeah. And there was a documentary about the quilt that won the Oscar in 1990. Yeah. So the quilt was incredibly significant visually, for sure. Can you think of storylines in popular media that you remember?
Philadelphia is the really big one.
Philadelphia.
That is the prestige
That's
movie.
the one that Tom Hanks won an Oscar for.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Kids.
Jenny, you've tested positive for the HIV virus. What? The test isn't 100% accurate. You should...
I tested positive?
I'm sorry.
I only had sex with Telly.
There's a whole movie called It's My Party from 1996. I believe it was like a group of friends get together to say goodbye to their one friend who's about to die.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing that. And the band played on.
Okay, yeah, the band plays on. I was thinking Boys in the Band, but that's a 70. That's a different one.
Jeffrey in 1995.
Jeffrey, yes, with Sir Patrick Stewart.
A lot of the like teen shows often talked peripherally about them, and sometimes they would have characters that would come in and out. Like 90210 had an AIDS character. Life Goes On, which was a popular show that nobody remembers anymore. It had a character that was on for a while, played by Chad Lowe. And My So-Called Life talked about it, didn't specifically. I don't think there was a character that specifically had it.
Is it true? I mean, that he's really not dangerous? What if I sat in the same chair that he just sat in? Could I catch it or something?
AIDS gets transferred through bodily fluids, not through chairs. So unless you've been sleeping with him, you can talk to them. You can shake their hand. Hug them. That's all safe. I know I sound like a pamphlet. It's just I get so mad at how people with AIDS get treated by people like you.
Good old Degrassi. Degrassi, I don't know if it was Degrassi Junior High or I think it was Degrassi High, which is Pinnacle Canada media from the 90s, had a character that found out that they had AIDS. And I think one of the most iconic messaging in the 90s is this one right here.
Gays aren't the only ones getting it.
No, but they're the ones who started it.
Actually, nobody knows how it got started. Gays are just one of the first groups that showed up in.
Yes, and for a good reason. You reap what you sow, and you boys brought this on yourselves. As far as I'm concerned, this disease has one thing going for it. It's killing all the right people.
Imogene, I'm terribly sorry. I'm going to have to ask you to move your car.
Why?
Because you're leaving.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the only thing worse than all these people who never had any morals before AIDS are all you holier-than-thou types who think you're exempt from getting it.
Well, for your information, I am exempt. I hadn't lived like these people, and I don't care what you say, Julia Sugarbaker. I believe this is God's punishment for what they've done.
Oh, yeah? Then how come lesbians get it less?
That is not for me to say. I just know that these people are getting what they deserve.
Imogene, get serious. Who do you think you're talking to? I've known you for 27 years, and all I can say is, if God was giving out sexually transmitted diseases to people as a punishment for sinning, then you would be at the free clinic all the time.
What?
Yeah. I feel like the 1980s were like a time of like freaking out, and it was new, it was scary, and then the 90s was all about messaging.
Well, the 80s was about don't talk about it. I mean,
Right.
from up high, the message came from up high from Reagan.
Yeah. But somewhere in the 90s, I don't know who blew it open, sort of, it became sort of a topic that was being messaged in a lot of very ordinary media. Designing Women Golden Girls.
I just think it came to a head, like I said, with, I don't know, for lack of better language, it became something that was unavoidable. It was in the general population. It was not in these small groups of communities, and you couldn't ignore it anymore.
No, you couldn't ignore it at all. Yeah, the reason why I wanted to do this episode was not because it's a fun subject, because it's not, obviously, but I feel like it's something that we've almost forgotten about. It's become so passé. So they have drugs that make it undetectable in your blood. And if it is undetectable in your blood, it is not transmittable to your partners.
It's such a small, like it's completely, it's there, but it's
not, but it's really not there.
It's not really there anymore. Yeah. It's suppressed.
Yeah. So, it is almost never talked about at all. I feel like we're probably in a time in America where these sorts of prevention of diseases might be removed. Our government has been in the habit of defunding specific demographics that they don't care about.
Yeah, and also research.
Yeah.
The thing that Princess Diana's saying, who in the world needs more hugs than these people?
Exactly.
They just need your love and compassion. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, a lot of them, especially at that time before there were these treatments, it was a death sentence.
It was a death sentence. People would die in, on average, 11 years.
Yeah.
So that is it for HIV and AIDS. We can be optimistic because treatments work. And all of this effort and research and messaging has basically brought not a cure, but a very workable and successful treatment. So that's wonderful. And hopefully, people will think about it a little bit and be grateful for science. Science is good.
Science is great.
Yes. So this has been
Dave
and Cheryl
and the 90s.
Woo!
Put it on before you put it in, kids.
Nice.
Got a favorite 90s moment or topic you want us to dive into? We'd love to hear about it. If you think we got everything wrong, we'd love to hear about that too. Drop us an email at andthe90spod@gmail.com, link in the episode description, and you can be damn sure that we'll read your comments on the show. Also, if you're digging the show, please rate, comment, subscribe, and tell everyone you know to check us out. It really does make a difference. Till next time, remember, we're nostalgia for the olds and education for the youths.